Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles of Bust number 441, and today we're playing Trundle Set. And so we're doing battle in the Eternal Gauntlet, playing Ionia, most definitely playing a control deck today, if you will. This is probably the only time you'll see us play Ionia for the next 3 months, so go ahead and strap on in. But if you're not familiar with the interactions with Set flips once you've seen 40 mana. By the time you get to turn 9 or so, it's not unreasonable to think you've spent 40 mana by then, and that's where Feel the Rush starts to get real exciting. And so Feel the Rush, 12 mana spell, puts 2 champions in your deck or hand onto the board. Assuming one of those champions is Set, he's going to flip because he wants to see you spend 12 mana in a turn, and then he's going to get that showstopper in his hand, Unstoppable Force. I can never remember the name of it since since we don't play these filthy Ionia cards, but it's a very powerful combo in the sense that as soon as you feel the rush, you get Set on the board. Set's going to flip. That sees your 12 mana spent for the turn, and then he gets the big spell in his hand. The other kind of exciting things with Set is the usage of Trundle. Trundle generates the Ice Pillar, which then refills 8 mana back to your hand. And so when you're using Set, or a little bit more importantly, using the Old Timer, as you play that Ice Pillar, you get your 8 mana back, and then you can play the Old Timer and have your 16 mana spent for the turn. And so Set makes his flip a little easier in the sense that you can spend that 16 mana in one turn, and then the Old Timer just pops off. And so that is the real core of the deck, using Set, Trundle, Old Timer, and Feel the Rush. And from there, it's just how do you really want to support the package. And there's a number of ways that you can go about this. You can, of course, play Karma, which I have no desire to do. You can add in a ramp package and then look to add in Demacia for the big units, or add in Targon for the big dragons. You can look towards Noxus and use Ash. You can look towards Noxus. One of the things I was looking to use was Yasuo and Noxus and Katarina and the like. But at the end of the day, I settled on Jax. And I think that this gives us a nice kind of mid-rangey element to the deck. It sets it up to where, you know, if you start getting too crazy with the champions in your deck, they aren't very good with Feel the Rush. And so if you say Feel the Rush into Karma and Yasuo, you have 20 power of units on the board, but they really struggle to actually deal any damage. And I really like this collection of bros between Jax, Set, Trundle, Sejuani, Ornn, and Tryndamere, and that they all have Overwhelm, or that they can all easily get it. And so they work a little bit stronger with that Feel the Rush. And so as we are, you know, kind of a core Freylord deck, Jax and Ornn, of course, great friends. They work quite nicely with the Forge package, and so we get a lot of synergies all kind of tied in and baked together. So some of the oddities I am wanting to call out with this deck is, you know, we're playing Ionia, and so we have access to some cards that we don't typically see on this channel. We get Twin Disciplines, which is one of the great combat tricks of all time. I'm pretty certain it's back to being 3s across the board. It was fixed to its original form as it got banished to Eternal. We have a small recall package in here. I really like Unworthy Soul in this format with the number of Aatrox that are running around. And then the other kind of thing that we're really looking to play towards here is the just kind of mid-ranginess of the bonus stats that you can get. And so we have all of the bonus stats coming across from the improvised units, but we also have the likes of Omen Hawk and Avarosian Hearthguard, Glacial Saurion, giving us some ways to just boost all of the units in our deck. Last but not least, we are finishing off the curve with Warden of the Tribes. This doesn't need to give, you know, like +6 or +7 stats just to be incredibly good. If you have 2 or 3 subtypes across the course of the game, then the Warden of the Tribes is going to be popping off quite well. And so we obviously have the Weapon Masters theme in here, but we do have a handful of other subtyped cards littered across the deck to help us get that Warden popping off. And so we do have, say, Warden, Lonely Poro, Omen Hawk, Frostcoat Cub, Grandfather Fae, Green Glade Lookout, providing some of those subtypes along the way. And then these cards do kind of double up in the sense that they're all very good early game cards, and they're very good against a lot of the aggro decks in the format. And so that's the deck. That's what we're doing battle with today. But before the battles begin, you know what we have to do? We have to turn something premium. And I know there's got to be some kind of Ionia card in here. I couldn't remember if we'd premiumed out enough Ionia stuff to where we don't have to go to spells. And here we go. Perfect. Perfect. We can premium up the Old Timer. Welcome to the club, bro. I didn't think you would ever get turned to premium, but Here we are. He's ready to go today. Feeling good about how his stats look, how his prismaticness is really gonna help his day unlock greatness. So, the old timer. This is a deck that you can pull off in Eternal. This is a very powerful strategy that doesn't see too much play, and that really does surprise me quite a bit. Now, I haven't really forced myself out here into playing too much Ionia and Eternal, but I know a lot of players in the Eternal space really hyped up the strength of this deck and just didn't really catch on last season, and so maybe we'll give it a little bit more attention next season if it seems like there's gonna be some good usage there. Play some Eternal, play some Ionia as everyone wants us to see, I'm sure. And so out here, up against the Sun Disk, I'm just going to keep our hand as cheap as we can get it, so we'll hang on to the Favored Artisan, mulligan everything else away, and then a reasonable enough start with the Omen Hawk coming in, the Darkened Spear to boost some more stats along the way. Hopefully we can do it. So one thing to note with the Sun Disk, we have to kind of call out things we can do with these Ionian cards, right? The Unworthy Soul is capable of sending the Sun Disk back to hand. Should it turn up across the game. We don't have a ton of ways to deal with landmarks in here, but as we do come to battle against the Sun Disk deck, it's kind of important to note that we do have a minor way to potentially reset the counter on the Sun Disk. Old timer turning up. He said, I need the stats. I need them stats bust. How can you help me? Omen Hawk, here to help. But reasonable. I'm curious what opponent wants to drop here on this turn. Like, the ideal play is going to be that 3/3 dude that makes a sarcophagus, and I think if we're going to be facing that down, then we would prefer to just put the Darkened Spear on our 2/3 and probably call it a day. Like, we'll forge it if that unit comes down, but I feel like against pretty much everything Shurima has to offer, a forged Favored Artisan should be able to come in and attack. But if we start trying to get clever here and spread out our stats, the Omen Hawk can most certainly run into spots to where it doesn't really win any of the combats. So time and dedication looks just fine here. We're going to get this attack in. We'll have to stop and consider if we want to try and fish fight this Rock Bear Shepherd next turn. It's kind of like right on the edge of what I would consider, kind of a worthy unit to take down. If he comes down and drops a Zerath here, then we're most certainly not going to fish fight the Shepherd. But, it being able to take 3 or 4 ticks off of the Sun Disk is pretty legit, and so I have to worry about that a little bit. But let's just send in the Combat Cook for the moment. I'd like to get him up to 5 power if we can. And we can do that with the Sandsworn Amulet. The Amulet just looks better on this board, I think, being able to just attack through all of these units. Alright, well, I think as it stands, I'm just going to let the Rock Bear Shepherd live. We do have a reasonable round next turn with the Grandfather Fae, who's got double stats at this point. And then boosting up with the Sandsworn Amulet, but Trundle seems pretty good. The downside to the Fae is it does spend all of our mana, right? We can Grandfather Fae into Amulet and then play the 2/1, but this stuff's going to get outclassed here pretty quick, so maybe we do just go ahead and take the Trundle. We have the Trundle Ice, or the Ice Pillar Old Timer combo for turn 8, if it needs to come down to that. Worth noting, you can Rite of Negation the Old Timer skill, right? If this opponent has Rite of Negations and Avenging Vestias, it's not a guarantee to just send everything back, but got a pretty good shot, Interesting. Still kind of want to attack into this stuff. Like, you don't see too many combat tricks coming out of these decks, so I think our units are, not at worry of a +1/+1. There is a pretty real chance that he has a Rite of Zerath, whatever that thing is called. to blow up a landmark and deal 4 damage, but he blocked in a weird way, so I don't think that that's really going to be on the table. Now this is a quick Azir. There is a chance that we can get this Azir off of the board before he flips, and keep him from getting the big stats, or getting the reduction on the Sun Disk. Right, Azir is at 10 of 12 right now, so he needs to like add a card and attack before he's gonna flip. This is kind of crucial right here. Okay, so he'll get the Sand Soldier out of the Azir, and then still one summon short. There are like Azir Arise is kind of a burst way to get him to flip, but I don't think we're ever gonna try and play around that. Let's just see if we can't get him with Trundle here. Now, you can have stuff like Quicksand, like this is not a guaranteed kill, but I think this is most certainly worth going for to keep him from trying to flip this Sun Disk. Okay, worthwhile. How much do we want to get going now? So it's like the Azir's going to flip. The Sun Disk doesn't necessarily pop next turn. He's going to need another champion to go along with it. But we gotta start worrying about that. It's either going to be, or we're going to build into Buried in Ice or the Old Timer. I'm leaning towards this. We'll just load up Trundle with the equipment. And then he can attack into the 5/5, probably get a trade. But we got to just kind of build up board and count on one of our big AoEs to get the job done here. Oh, snap. Oh, the tag out. I was like, tag out is not the same as just killing off the Azir. I mean, we could Buried in Ice. Maybe this is the answer, right? So the Azir will flip when he comes back in a couple of turns, but I think this is good. Uh-oh, sad face. I think that's okay. So it's like we'll load up whatever dudes we can on opponent's next turn. And then 2 turns from now, we'll try the Pillar Old Timer. Like, he's gonna get the Sun Disk flip, but hopefully it's just not enough at that point. Just passes? That's quite the pass. Alright, well, his team gets to come back out. I think we're okay. Like, this Sun Disk is still gonna be at like 3. None of his other champions will be flipped at this point.
Hail to the king!
Hail to the king. The thing I'm kind of regretting at this point is we didn't attack with the Omen Hawk last turn. I feel like we're in one of these spots to where we're going to be like 1 mana short of popping off, and not particularly excited about it.
They think they've seen the best. Then they meet.
Not even a great Old Timer, but he has to play a unit and then immediately block the Old Timer, right? He can't just take 14 from it. He says, sad Poro. Oh, I thought we sniped the Azir out of his hand. Not quite the case. Ooh, Castigate. That did a number on our board. You're not quite lethal there, Trundle. Still in pretty good shape, though, I think. Rise and shine, sleepy dupes. So, I mean, as far as this goes, we can tag out something. That's going to be 5, and then we still have, like, Green Glade Lookout, Hungry Owlcat that we can put on the board this turn, and so we'll see if that comes to fruition. Can't get these rock bears down, right? He needs one more card. I bet he's, like, really excited about playing Treasure of the Sands, so let's wait and see if he equips, and then we can send the unit back, and that should be the end of the day. I was a little worried with this, though, in the sense that, you know, he has the Rock Bear Shepherd on board. If he attacks, it's going to pop the Sun Disc. I mean, I guess the Sun Disc is going to be flipping either way. Alright, let's just get more dudes on board, I guess. We can run into this space next turn to where whatever he blocks Trundle with, we can tag out, so that he'll get to deal his full amount of damage. But he was excited about that Treasure of the Sands. No attack, though. Very strange. So, I don't know if there's anything in the Emperor's deck that really causes problems here. It probably is. That's just the nature of the beast, but I definitely want to be open attacking here. I don't want to get sandstormed, or whatever that thing is called, that like obliterates 3 dudes. We did just pick up Feel the Rush, which would have been kind of interesting, but like the open attack just feels like the safest option that we have at the moment.
Such arrogance.
Right, he's already played his Rite of Negation, and so it's going to be tough. I would assume he doesn't have Quicksand at this space. Right, if he has Quicksand, he's going to get a much better block, putting the Rock Bear Shepherd in front of Trundle. I mean, having a, I guess, 9-10 Trundle go into a 10-10 Azir is kind of okay, but does have a Quicksand. Just doesn't send it to Trundle. Beautiful. I don't know. I guess that is very easy to look at and say, oh yeah, he's dealing 0 damage this turn anyways. Let's just prevent the damage from this other stuff. Yeah, it's like I have to stop and read every single one of these Ionia cards. I just have no idea what any of the options are. But got to show off some of the combos. Got a win along the way. It's good. Didn't even use a Battle Fury. Alright, next battle. Ooh, Ionia cards. What? You know what? They should have. I don't even know. I was trying to say they should have just rotated all of Ionia to Eternal, but then that would give us that. What is it, like 4 months out of the year where we still have to play against those cards? Can't just take them directly out of the game. Alright, so this looks like some kind of piracy aggro number. Bilgewater, Noxus, P and Z with a bunch of cheaper ended champions in it. So, I mean, we got a reasonable curve here in terms of early game stuff. We didn't pick up the units that we're like excited about, like Lonely Poro and Frostcoat Cub kind of units, but I think this is still manageable. Let's wait and see if he makes a play. Like, if we can't interact with it anyways, or if he doesn't have one, I don't really want to get the Apprentice on board, because I kind of want to have the Twin Disciplines on turn 3. So if we add the Green Glade Lookout on turn 2, we can add the Castaway next turn, improvise that mana back, and then be able to stop a little bit of stuff with Twin Disciplines. Reasonable. Getting the old timer on the cheap isn't exactly what we're looking for, but you do need to remember that this can still just recall a unit, right? This doesn't necessarily have to be the big full combo with the Ice Pillar. Can just send send a unit right back and maybe return a Darius or something. So with these, like, I kind of like picking up mana. Our unit should be able to survive here for the most part, since we do have the twin disciplines. He's not blocking with either of these dum-dums as it is, but you know, if he just adds a random 3/2 to the board, it's gonna trade with the castaway. Alright, but he's in. Feeling safe. Ready for the blacksmith to come in and give us some heals.
Enough for everyone. Kindle picked me. That's why Smith.
Treasures of the ages.
Not as aggressive as I was expecting, and he's gotten a few Teemo hits in for certain, but not incredibly terrible. Now here we have the nice combo of the Scout Rake along with the Entrancing Lure in hand. We're going to have a pretty good opportunity to perhaps take down both Misfortune and Teemo next turn. So I'm on board. Saurion turns up. Oh, let's see what we draw. I mean, these units are pretty good. I think I'm much happier with the Grandfather Fae anyways, being able to get 2 units on board against our opponent's width. There is a world where we should like maybe attack with this castaway, because I do want to play the equipment next turn. Right, I want to be able to gain that point of health off the innovative blacksmith, but I don't know. As this game's going, we're probably just okay. Is he gonna open attack here? That's fine. We can manage.
Found some flotsam.
You're gonna get burned.
Let's just kill everything, right? We'll keep our innovative blacksmith, trade everything else. That's pretty top tier right there.
It just snapped.
I was curious if we should have just played Combat Reel first. It's like I'm looking to just say put the Combat Reel on the blacksmith, keep her protected from random bullshit like Make It Rain, and now we're in a spot to where we can Scout Rake the Saurion. Just come in for a ton of damage. Sejuani turned up. She's not terrible, but she's pretty good on the defense next turn as well. So I think I want to stick to this plan. We're gonna Rake the Saurion, we're gonna Forge it, gain that health, and then things like Frostcoat Cub, just gonna be a fantastic blocker here. These are the units I was talking about as being good against this style of deck, to where the favorite artisan and the Frostcoat Cubs being 2/3s against a deck full of 2/1s. You just get very easy 2-for-1s across the board.
My first big mission.
I'm gonna just keep adding.
Nice to meet you. I'm Isla.
He filled out pretty easily there. There's no reason to come in and just make trades. So let's just send in the 2 biggest we have. Should be pretty set to win this a couple turns from now. Like, whatever his big play is for the turn, we have the answer in either Sejuani or the Old Timer, so I'm not super scared about whatever they're bringing.
Got us
Bring it.
covered.
By his hammer.
Alright, this looks reasonable. I'm fine to have the Saurion die off. We'll just put the Scout Rake onto Sejuani next turn. So we're not really losing out there. It's the Brothers Bond we absolutely love to see, where it just doesn't do anything, right? It doesn't deal any damage. Typically with Brothers Bond, you want to say like kill 1 unit and then deal 2 damage to another unit, and he just completely unable to do it there. I forgot about those puff caps. Maybe maybe drawing cards was a little scarier than I was given it credit for.
I'm always up for a round or two.
But the Scout and Tryndamere should be enough to end the game. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with a little Scouty Tryndamere.
My blade grows restless.
His blade, more like his rake, grows restless. That's what life's about right there. I'm sure Rico Rex approves of this, loading up a Tryndamere with the Scout Rake. That's what it's about.
It calls.
Clear off.
Got pretty low in health though, falling to 5. I was gonna say we know we're safe at only 4 mana. There's no burn cards to deal 5, so no worries there.
Not even a challenge.
Victory unlocked. GG. Alright. Next battle. Whew. That's all you can say as you battle pirates. Ooh, I miss it. I miss playing with pirates. It was such a wild season in Eternal. I'm curious what, if anything, comes in the upcoming variety patch, in the sense that there was just like so much heal in that previous Eternal format that playing the improvised package was just so easy, between having the innovative blacksmith that we had going in that game, and then Hearthblood Mender. Just so easy gaining to like 6 or 7 health each game, just doing what your normal game plan is. And so decks like Pirates just got completely ran out of the format, and it should probably still just be like the best deck. it's wild how that Bilgewater Noxus deck has just been like the actual best deck in the game for almost 2 years, but I think it might have finally kind of met its match in the Eternal format, and so I'm sure it'll rise again. We'll have to find a way to conquer with it next season. All right, up against what looks to be the Returno Wrench deck, right? Got the BC Noxus PNZ with Scion in it. I assume that this is going to be quite aggressive, very similar to what we played a couple of videos ago, and so we need to get a bit of early game on the board, try and slow down their shenanigans. And we got another pretty decent start. No ones, but Frostcoat Cub into the Castaway along with the Troll Chant after we improvise is a pretty solid opener. Drop our standard technology on the deck though. You're gonna play a bunch of 2-1s. I'll play a 2-3. See where that gets us. So with these, I was looking for a plus health equipment, right? I would prefer to find a like a Pot of Pain, so that our Piltover Castaway can be relevant in these combats. It didn't turn up. I'm not as excited about just slamming him in here. You really want to be getting good 2-for-1s off of this Troll Chant, especially as we have like higher valued plays in hand, like Jax. And so I'm just going to send in the Frostcoat Cub, see if we can't do a little bit better next turn. Then at least we do get to bank up this Troll Chant mana into the upcoming rounds. Ooh. It's going aggressive. You could have put the +3/+3 onto the Flame Chompers and just had a very strong challenger, but chose to go a different way. Interesting. All kinds of stuff coming at us. So let's go with like the Poro route. It's not super strong, but I don't immediately want to have to block with Grandfather Fae.
Found some flotsam.
Yeah, this Castaway just dies to everything, right? Alright, you can go away. I guess we'll take 7. Gotta count on Jax to start doing some work. A little scarier than I wanted to give it credit for. Smooth Mixologist is good, though. We don't need to play her this turn. Let's do this. We're probably never attacking with Porofly, right? We'll still get to play it post-combat and have it as a potential blocker, but let's just go ahead and add Jax. We'll Fischl Whack probably the Owlcat and see where it takes us. Sad noise. That is not the usage of Troll Chant that we were looking for.
Oh boy, here I go!
Let me change up my style.
All right, I'll go ahead and send in the Grandfather Fae. It's not doing anything else, right? It's basically just in here as 2 units that can come down in the early game, and then it also happens to have a keyword. So probably not going to get any more Fae for the rest of the game.
1,000 years of battle, and
So it's
I'm
fine to just send in and see
warming
what happens with it. I really doubt that it was going to get to trade with Fizz. And we could add Porofly. I just don't think we want to at this exact moment. Like, we're probably going to be playing Mixologist next turn. It doesn't block anything currently. It's never going to get a block onto Fizz. Now the Battle Fury. Opponent should really struggle in dealing with Battle Fury, and so we just need to bank 1 mana into next turn. This is a reasonable enough time for Porofly to turn up. We can just block the Earth Shaker.
This is gonna be fun!
Don't have to worry about Might. He's only got 2 mana. That's a reason enough to just stop and give it a think. So this is fine. I feel much safer healing back this turn.
Coin buys
Don't
drink
die to
food.
Decimate. Don't die to Get Excited. And we still have the Battle Fury mana for next turn. Easily the best card in the game.
Service with a smile.
Easily.
Absolute unit.
So, I mean, the card to worry about here would be something like Wallop. I don't think we can really. We can play around it. If he's not going to block our spell shield a unit, then we're going to feel pretty good about what this Battle Fury can do. Womp. You gotta throw a little laser kitty when you Battle Fury like that. He rummages away Decimate. Alright, we're fine. GG. Feels good. Always feels good. GG. I didn't expect I didn't expect the bingo board today to have a hungry Owlcat with Overwhelm getting Battle Fury as being a potential kill for the day. Alright, on to the next one. Seraphine Karma spells deck. We don't have to do as much work in terms of just seeking out the early game plays, and so it's like I don't want to hang on to Darkened Spear. It's a nice mana sink in the early game, and it is kind of useful in the sense that once you give your units a bonus, it makes the opponent's removal that much worse, right? If your opponent's removal is a bunch of Mystic Shots and High Notes, then giving a unit a little boost can really hinder their removal, but we just don't have anything to put it on at the moment. Let's get rid of it. Then we'll definitely hang on to the Blacksmith, just make sure we have something to do in the early game. We got all the big boys, that's for certain. Let's add the Grandfather Fae. See if he soaks up a removal. I really don't care if he dies. This is just exactly what he's here for. Would be nice to get the 3-power Owlcat, but if at the end of the day that doesn't happen, I'm not going to be really upset about it. Anybody tell this guy he spelled his Pokemon wrong? Spelled it wrong. Come on, dude. Thinking on this hard. Says, okay, you can live, you can stay. Well, we got all the champions if we can make it to that stage of the game. I'm leaning towards the combat reel here. Our mana's kind of tight at this point, and we do have a fish fight we might want to play eventually, and so we can run the blacksmith in and just get that 2 mana. Ideally, we'll get to spend all the rest of our mana on units and then still be able to interact just a little bit with the fish fight. Sure. Dude, this guy's just so much bigger than ours. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Time for a true display of skill.
No, we're not going to allow Ezreal. He's not scary at this point, right? I mean, he's not going to combo kill us or anything, but I don't want him just running around. Interesting. I don't want him running around generating mystic shots and stuff. So I don't think opponent realizes our blacksmith isn't going to take damage in that combat. So that worked out for us. That was kind of nice, but we'll just take this one. It is a pretty healthy chunk of damage, but it's like I'm just looking at the Owlcat. It's going to go up to 3. We can put the combat reel onto the Owlcat and then be kind of set in terms of having something that can combat the blacksmith. We can still add set this turn. Just I'd prefer to get a little bit more out of him. It just like we could have put the block onto the blacksmith and hooked it with set, but I feel like if we just get to wait around with him, we're gonna get something better. Right? We have a lot of high-powered plays about to come up, and opponent's not putting any pressure on us, so I'd rather wait until we're generating what are these stupid things called? Showstoppers. I keep calling it unstoppable force. I don't even know what unstoppable force is. That's feels like a World of Warcraft thing. Maybe it was a magic card. I don't remember. Type gaming in with it. I don't know what any of this stuff is. Oh. League of Legends. Maybe that's what we needed to do. We needed to add League of Legends. Something Zhen Zhao does. Okay. Okay. Oh, it says, oh, it's the Malphite ability. Get it right, Bing. This is why no one uses you. All right, it's the Malphite ability. Somebody out there was saying this is taking way too long to figure out, but opponent's taking way too long to play this damn game, and so you gotta fill the void with something. I'm excited. We'll see when Xin Zhao comes out. He's one of those champions that I played a little bit of when I actually played League, and so there's a little bit of kind of freshness to wanting to see him. Curious if he'll come out with the equipment. It's one of those spots to where I don't really know too much about his kit. Like I couldn't tell you what his lore is. I just know that he kind of ran around with the spear, and he liked to poke the spear really fast. And so I wonder if he'll come about in kind of the same way as like a weapon master with Jax and extend out the weapon master kit. That'd be kind of interesting to me. I don't think he understands we can make this block here as well, but these blocks aren't great. We're going to lose the equipment either way, which kind of sucks given that we're going to play Ornn next turn. I guess we can just wait with Sejuani. I do want to throw some blocks down though. You can block these for free. Like we could just put the Owlcat in front of the blacksmith and he wouldn't deal any damage because he doesn't have Overwhelm. So let's just sprinkle a couple points of damage out here. We're gonna refill out our board pretty quickly, and this might be a spot to where we want to just play Set next turn. Like, I'm not particularly excited about adding Ornn with no equipment. Maybe that's what we do. Maybe we put Set on board this turn and then just play Sejuani next turn. And then we can hook the unit in with Set. I don't really want... No,
Technique is for lightweight.
that doesn't sound particularly awesome. But we can protect Set just a little bit with Troll Chant. I mean, the other thing we can look to do is just put the Frostbite hook into Sentry, and then just hook the Sentry with other stuff. We're gonna get Victor out of here. I don't even really like that. We shouldn't have done that. We should have put the hooks into something else and then hooked Victor with Set. Oh, a lot of concussive palms coming in. Okay, I'll allow it.
Ride onward.
You cannot win.
Death Lotus. What does that do? I don't think it really does anything. We could consider, say, like protecting our Omen Hawk so that we can try and get this Sejuani flip, but if we're going to be real, Sejuani's never flipping this game, so I think that's a little excessive. Just sitting around on this Ornn feels bad. We'll take the clear where we can get it. Just keep adding in the big boys. Just get it done with the no equipment Ornn, I guess.
It's too late for that.
Alright, an opponent won't be enlightened next turn. He's only going to have 9 mana, so it's not too scary of a karma. Still like to come up with a little bit more damage if we can. I mean, I guess this is it. We're just gonna we're just gonna attack with Ornn with no equipment. He can still forge himself. He'll be a 7/7 when he attacks. Just not how I really intended on this to go.
Ionia misconstrues our noble intentions.
That's kind of lame.
Lord, no further pleasantries needed. Never lost yet, and I ain't starting now.
Alright, opponent drops the GGs. We're gonna build into Showstopper here. Like, we have the mana comes up to 12, so probably want to just do it in the middle of combat or before combat. So we'll drop the Showstopper on Karma, hook Broadmane out, then we should be good to go.
Call this getting your bell rung.
It's the first one of these I've cast in my life. It wasn't as impressive as I would have really liked it to have been, but I don't know. Probably more impressive than what Ornn was doing here. Right, though, GG. Well played. On to the next one. Yeah, this is a Oh, I was gonna pull up my mastery real quick. I think Set may be like the very last one. He might be at the very end. I can't quite remember. But up against the Transformers deck, this is very similar to the Transform stuff you see in Constructed, except it's got P and Z in it for concurrent timelines. So I'd like to get, you know, some decent early game going here. Of course, we'll hang on to the Blacksmith. No other early plays, unfortunately. Under Ice Pillar. I just wanted to check if Ice Pillar had a subtype. Should be ice, cold. It deserves something. And what do we got? Take the most defensive one. Sandsworn Amulet gives us a touch of health. Nice. I do love me a Spirits Unleashed. The poor man's siren song, if you will, or might be the rich man's siren song now. It's gonna have a mountain of stats. That's kind of a bummer. It's like I really want to spend mana this turn. We don't want to just be overbanking so much, but like the fish fight into this guy kind of sucks if we're going to be real. It's also at risk of just getting popped by a Mystic Shot, but I don't know, just seems like we got to do something with our mana when our hand is stacked so expensively.
Son thinks I'm all sparkle, huh? Well, maybe.
Alright, well we got our mid-range package ready to go, that's for certain. Let's lead off with the Sarion. It's like, as we're going to be drawing these cards off the top of our deck, there's no way that we're going to draw 3 before he's ready to get into combat. So I think he'll be okay. Yeesh, this is going to be bad. We got to find one of our big combos. There it is. There's the big combo. Just had to wait just a little bit for it. So if we can just get dudes down without dying, we should be in good shape.
The War Mother will unite us all. Avarosans, stand together.
Alright, so we'll drop a block. We can get the Apprentice in. Next turn we'll add Trundle. And then after Trundle comes on board, we can look to Old Timer Pillar. I don't think we want to Old Timer Pillar until 2 turns from now, but I do want to still get these bigger plays on board. We might actually have an attack with Trundle this turn. It's going to be pretty big with the amulet.
Ever been to a blacksmith before?
Look at that big regenerate, bro. Ready for combat. Trundle's got fearsome. He's not scared of that. He's ready to bring it.
Have you heard Zon Starlight? I gotta go.
Alright, I think we're in good shape. Like, this board is not scary. And then as we get to do our big combo on the next attack token, feel pretty good about that.
We follow the legends until we become
And we just pick up jacks. That's the way to do it right there. That's the way to do it.
For Acacia! And you know what? Also for me! My heroic last stands never seemed to stick.
You did the work, Revna. We appreciate the things you do. Here we go. I'm trying to think if there's a reason we want to use these recalls, in the sense that the kind of straightforward play here is to just overwrite the pillar with the old timer, but it's like we have all these recalls, and getting rid of the Weaponsmith's Apprentice isn't that big of a deal. And so if we're actually Gonna like tag out one of our units. Yeah, we can return our own unit with Unworthy Soul. So like 2 turns from now, we could replay the old timer if something goes wrong here. I think I'm on board with this. It's a big ass banana blaster. So when we return this to hand, it's going to go back to a 2/2. We don't have to worry about it coming in and then just blowing up our dudes again. So that's kind of okay.
Can't win 'em all.
Let's give him a chance to spend some more mana.
Lost
Doesn't take it.
everything once. I'm here to win it back.
Get those hands out of here. He's gonna lose. He's gonna overdraw some of these as well. If you look at what's going back, you can see the back alley barkeep and the junk construct are both going to be sent off to the void. Oh, he's gonna lose like his banana blaster now. I don't know about adding cards to your hand. That's kind of scary at this point. Oh, it's the. I guess that's fine, right? He's not losing out on anything. It's not adding 2 cards to his hand. It's just replacing one that already exists there.
Many tribes under one banner. Our banner will lead the way. Get ready for a beatdown.
All right, we'll get ready for a beatdown. G. Look at those Ionia cards. Who knew they could be so fun?
Something.
Who knew? Oh, I'm gonna remember. I'm gonna check it. How do I do this real quick? Not a setting. I gotta go home. This little circle up here. Mastery. Here we go. Ooh, Master Yi's are in. Master Yi hanging out at 0 mastery. I thought about playing him today. Didn't do it. Rise, I think I played maybe 2 games with Rise, maybe 3 games. Then we said we're not playing that anymore. And then just the usual suspects, the people you would expect on my thing. Like the Poro King and Nico are new champions, so they aren't that big of a deal. But Seraphine, Set, Soraka, the Donger, Tom Kench, these are just just shit we're never playing. And then if you look up at the top, look at this collection. You got the Scouts and Quinn and Misfortune. Literally every deck with action. Played that for like 6 months. Poppy hanging out here with our friend Draven. That's just so many decks. When you come and check out a bust video, that's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get those mid-rangey kind of decks. None of that control garbage. Alright, let's see if we can't finish this one off. Same dude from previously. I feel like we played this guy like 3 times in a previous video, maybe 2 videos ago. Can't quite remember. But I think we're good to hang on to a slower style hand here. Let's be a little greedy with this. Not stoked about picking up Tryndamere, but I think we're safe to hold on to Feel the Rush. Just feels like we're gonna have a ton of time. And like if we go through turn 4 and just completely overbank, that sucks, but I think that just the opportunity to feel the rush is going to be so huge.
Hold while I smith.
Do we want to go ahead and just boost this favorite artisan? I could probably live without doing that. There's been a lot of matchups in the day to where getting those extra stats on something like the Artisan does give it a chance to make for like really good blocks in the future, but we're not quite here. It's unfortunate having Victor pick up Fury. I was kind of envisioning maybe we block him with the favorite Artisan and then fish fight, but not quite able to do that. scared though.
The War Mother will unite us all.
All right, well, let's lead off with the Artisan. It's going to, or the Hearthguard. It's gonna make it so when we play our Sarion, that unit's gonna have +2/+2. Just need a little bit more time. See if we can't make it to turn 9, you know? See if we can't make it to getting Tryndamere on board. Definitely do have to worry about this Victor. Like, he's going to be the real deal here before long. But at this stage, we're fine to just blocking. It's going to be a pretty monstrous Frostcoat Cub next turn. It's just, we have to kind of stop and decide, do we ever want to play something like the Unforgiven Cold? If we're going to just continue to play, like, curve out with our mana, we're not going to get the opportunities. And so
You'll ruin the work.
it's like I don't want to lose out on the spell mana and then not be able to feel the rush on 9. I mean, we can just tag out Victor, but he's not, I don't know, he's not that scary. Let's be real. He's not as big as a Frostcoat Mother. I guess he is now. But guess he is now. Uh-oh. That's okay, I guess. We'll just try and tag him out next turn. Reset these skills. He's kind of scary at this point with Challenger. Oh gosh, wrong one. I want to get this elusive off of the board. So not going to play Tryndamere next turn. I think we still have plenty of stuff to do. Probably should have counted the mana or something, but there's not a ton of cards opponent can have that can really get in front of Feel the Rush, so I think this is okay. Right, realistically it should just be the 4 mana Vandal City deny thing. So we'll try and get Victor out of here and reset. He can come down kind of quickly and flip, but him losing out on all those keywords is what I was mainly interested in there. Now we do still have this mana to where we can play the Castaway, and then next turn Feel the Rush.
The time of machines is now.
So this Victor will flip.
We must improve. We must
See what we can do. So he's not quite a 10-10, you know? Not quite a 10-10. It's wild how much further ahead he got than us. Like, we're doing a lot of similar things in these games to where we're just playing all of the stat boosting and dirtling. But it's wild how far he can get just with that single Spirits Unleashed. Getting quite a bit ahead of us.
Today we fight as one.
Alright, so we got to get in front of a bit of this. We can't just take value blocks across the board.
You're up, chum
And
bucket.
leaning towards...
Get shipwrecked. Won't need tools for this.
Maybe like this, to where we get to keep 2 of our units. Falling to 4?
Found some
Yeah.
flotsam.
It's like
Won't need tools for this.
pretty close to just dying to burn spells if we fall to 4, but I don't think we have an option for the turn. We might be able to like Hearthblood Mend out of it a couple turns from now, but it's definitely scary. Gonna count on these 10-10s to really do something. But I mean, we have an Unforgiven Cold for his next attack token, and so if we can just get there, we might be okay. Now, do we want to change this up now that we've found like 2 Healy units? The Mender and the Mixologist. Can't see how much Set has spent. It's kind of a bummer. But I mean, I think it's safe to say that we just like outright lose the game if this Field of Rush gets countered. So let's take this a little slower. Like, our units are legit contenders here, and so I think we can just wait on the Field of Rush. Look at me not being too greedy. It's wild, isn't it? That's wild. Just wish we knew how much we spent on Set, right? If we could get the showstopper next turn, or I don't know, whatever the hell that thing's called, then we'd be in okay shape. Playing the Hearthblood Mender, we're not going to be able to do it, right? We'll have 10 mana, 1 banked. Oh, we'll get up to 12. Maybe we do just go for it. Just doing a bunch of stuff that doesn't matter.
Stand with me by the light, as my ancestors did.
Right, so it's like now that we've gained this extra 6 health, if we go into the next turn, coin, we're 1 mana short, right? The coin takes us to 11. No, we'll be at 12. We have 11 right now. We'll be at 12 next turn if we coin. And then we can feel the rush. So we're okay with that, right? He's not going to kill us if this goes wrong. Man, I didn't think to. This is probably actually a problem. We hit the set because we're the best in the world, but I saw the Intrepid Mariner come on, and I was like, yeah, that's a small unit. I don't really care. And that thing passing out elusive is definitely capable of killing us. And so, like 7 out of Victor and a Perilous Pastry is enough to win the game. And so, probably should have just taken it a little safer and kept the Unforgiven Cold, and then tried to feel the rush next turn. Definitely weak now. Like, he has to attack right at this point. He can't let us just showstopper his Victor. Maybe he can. I mean,
2 for flinching.
well, that's the answer, right? We don't showstopper the Victor. We showstopper the Intrepid Mariner. Looks like he's just attacking though.
Where's the door, man?
Cool. We can handle that.
Have another.
But right, I was thinking in my head, it's like, well, we want to hit Victor, but if we hit Victor, he just attacks with the Hearthguard, and we can't have that happen. Okay, I guess.
This one's gonna hurt. I promise.
He shouldn't have access to rallies. Like, that would be the next worrisome thing.
Not cold, not death.
Okay. Cool. lost out on the old timer. Okay. Well, I think we just got to attack at this point. Not like I guess Jax is still good here, but I need to quit being so greedy and just sit on the deny unforgiven cold. So let's add in Jax. He's going to be a good attack. I'm definitely going to just hook this Intrepid Mariner with our set. That is the card that's really scaring me at this point. And then the rest of our cards are just good attacks. Like we have this weird spot to where
Welcome to the arena.
At loggerheads, eh?
like we have our Ornn again with no equipment on him. When he gets field rushed out, he doesn't sneak out the equipment. That's a play ability, and so a little bit awkward for him. Our Jax down here to the right's gonna flip, so he should be capable of killing this aloof. And then if he doesn't survive the round, I'm still pretty okay with it. But I think we're in a good shape now. We weren't going to lethal him anyways, so not a big deal with the Wallop.
You wanted the God of the Forge, you got him.
Bury me at sea.
No fixing that.
Can we not flip our Jax?
Who's next? Bring it.
I just assumed that Ornn was flipped. He's not going to survive the round. Whoops. That's okay. A little sloppy, but it's still okay.
Don't worry about the words. What matters is how you feel.
Alright, so now that he only has 3 mana, I think it's okay to just kind of give up on Deny for the moment. And then with 10 mana next turn, we can put Light of Acacia on Ornn. It'll give him Overwhelm because our Jax did flip there. And then we'll still have Deny Unforgiven Cold and not have to worry about too much. Or he just buried nice. Nothing wrong with that either.
Piltover Enforcer on the scene.
It's like, does he ever get a unit bigger than Vi? Like, just go. She can continue to grow this turn, and that's kind of annoying. Alright. Opponent signals the GG. Apparently, that is enough. Uh-oh. That's something we should have kept in mind. The pursuit of perfection. We punted that one. What a punt. We had every answer in hand to that stupid thing, and I just completely forgot that card existed. I just had in my head, it's like, well, we're gonna get in combat with this Vi, and then we're going to have to worry about him playing like 2 and 3 cards, and her doing so. What the fuck's she gonna do like with an extra +2? That was stupid. We'll call that one a win. That was just a slop fest. It's like, I hate it when I do that. It's like, I know I have in my head, all we need to do is not die. We have the Unforgiven Cold, we have the Deny. We should literally not die to anything at this point. And there's like, oh, I can play Buried in Ice, so we can get rid of this Vi that doesn't matter. That's dumb. That was dumb. Alright, well, let's see if we can recover somebody different here. What do we got? This was a Seraphine deck with Noxus Targon, so I would assume it's just got the Plaza Guardian kind of combos in it. Just got like a million spells, and Plaza Guardians is a way to combo off with Seraphine. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the only Noxus cards in this deck were like the draw unit, and then things like Disintegrate and Pirouette. Yeah, I'm still upset about that last game. That was silly. That was silly. I guess you all get to hear a little bit more of my voice, though. You're welcome. You're welcome for that. Got some kind of bonus out there for you. So with this, I usually don't recommend the Shepherd's Authority, but I don't think... Like, I think if we go through this game without blocking the entire time, I think that's not unrealistic. And so, if it's like, if he gets to turn 9 and starts comboing off, then, you know, I think that's good. And then in this spot, it's just kind of like, the problem with taking whatever it was, like, I think it was Overwhelmed. This is just, the unit just dies to everything. And so, this is a pretty reasonable go as to where it took just an absolute shitload of mana to fight through that singular unit. I was planning on just playing Set next turn, but maybe not. Let's just pass. This is like, we can bank into the Twin Disciplines with the 2 high quality units. I don't think we need to
Kindle,
rush him
did you
out.
wander off again?
Get another good equipment. Definitely excited with the upcycled Rake here. +3/+2 scouts, definitely the real deal. How are you gonna handle it Sunday? Discards a Vi. Interesting. Get that Moon Boy going. Okay. Is he gonna take, like, stun? Okay. I don't feel like I'm impressed by that.
This feels right.
It's like, even if he comes in and Ravenous Flocks the Combat Cook, we still feel pretty okay in the sense that, you know, the strength here isn't the Combat Cook, the strength is the upcycled Rake. So, if he has a flock, you know, it's unfortunate in the sense that he gets to kill the unit for 1 mana, but it's not super strong. Now, Ornn, fantastic draw. He's ready to get some scout. Oh my god, are you kidding me? He doesn't attack. Wow. I guess he wants to keep the units to interact with the Combat Cook, but gotta love crescendoming into a 4/4 draw card. That's how you know you're doing stuff right. Nonsense. Out here trying to play a fair game, dealing with that bullshit. I feel like he's now upset that he didn't pick up Graviton. Like, I don't know the order the Aphelios weapons go, but I don't think he's too happy about this Ornn getting ready to come in on scout attacks.
Take your time.
Take your
I'm
time.
immortal. You're not.
You're immortal. Didn't know that.
Come and get it!
Learn something new about Ornn every day. Wow, that was big. That was big. What's he doing?
Now this is what good looks like.
Interesting. Curious what this Victor's supposed to be doing here if he's not, like, making trades onto the Combat Cook.
We are all seeking an end to war, friends.
That's kind of lame. Can't Twin Disciplines through that.
Oh, not this again.
So do we want to actually drop the Rake? I just envision these big turns where we have, say, Tryndamere on board with a Scout Rake just out here crushing. But, I mean, I think there's a reasonable chance that at least one of our units is going to die here, whether or not it's the Combat Cook or the other unit that we put the stats on.
Acacia.
Lord Broadmain. That's some bullshit right there. But he at least has to block the Acacia Mirage, right? He just dies if he doesn't. Falling to 2's not ultimately super scary for him. We're not in a real incidental damage kind of faction, so it's not like we're gonna blow him up with a Mystic Shot. Is Broadmain still bugged in terms of Tryndamere? This used to be a thing to where Tryndamere died to Disintegrate and didn't get the level up. I'm not certain if that's been fixed or not. I would assume that it has been, but I don't remember. It's interesting with the old timer. It's like he's not even terrible in terms of just sending Lord Broadmain back to hand. It's such an expensive play.
Move short as the moon, brother.
All right, got him to 2. So I mean, we have a couple of angles, right? We can't just go for width. We just need one unit to get through. We have the twin disciplines and stuff to go for that. I think realistically,
My brethren.
you might just want to be going for the equipment, though. I like the idea of being able to make a scout attack next turn, and then following up with Tryndamere afterwards. So let's at least bank up a little bit of mana. So we'll add in the Mixologist.
Coin buys drink or news.
Heals don't really matter. We'll put the upcycled Rake over onto the Weaponsmith's Apprentice. Take the open attack. And then we'll have a couple points of mana banked up. Before we play Tryndamere. Yep. There's that Moon Boy flip.
The moon speaks of
I think we can just let him sit around. Like, I mean, I don't really care about what he's doing. It is a little scary that he's got the Seraphine on the board. Because, I mean, our open attack isn't very good. Probably just is what it is. I guess the other angle we have is just to play Set. Set's going to be flipped. We're a mana short of show-stopping, though. Holy shit, this is a real attack?
Plenty to go round.
Alright, well, let's find out. Interesting. Not what I expected.
Here, let me see that.
Hot full of pain.
Back, heretic.
Alright, so this attack, nothing too crazy here. And we can still Tryndamere. I mean,
What do you say?
wow, just wow.
That was great. Now let's really bring it.
It's like the downside to going with Tryndamere is you have to worry about him then just spending like a bunch of mana, right? Like, or I'm sorry, having like a stun or something to send him back to hand. It's kind of problematic. So what if instead we start adding Poros, right? We just need to hit with one unit, and so we can say add a Lonely. It's got all the health because it got the Revna stats. We can add Plunder and put the Rake on it, and then we can finish up with this flipped set. Use the flipped set to hook something. We're not going to have the mana for Showstopper this turn. We only had 11. But it's still a pretty high quality unit. He's got to do something, right? I would imagine if he had a Song Spinner, he would have already played it. So, curious to see where this goes. burn angle is set though, right? If we come in with set and start generating the showstoppers. That's the way to get that single point of damage in.
Give it up for the reigning champ!
Something for your nerves, boss.
See.
Wouldn't want to miss
Only at 9 on the turn. A couple turns from now, though, we'll be ready for action. All right, here comes the flurry, right? There's no way he just doesn't have something to do here. Like, I think our chances of getting lethal here probably about 15%. Like, I know it looks like we have a pretty overwhelming advantage, but wow. Between the Seraphine and the Broadmane, it's pretty tough to do. I mean, at this point, he just needs a high note for Revna. Oh. Cool. Sometimes you just don't have it. Sometimes you just hit that 15%, huh? Cool. All right, so we'll call that one a 7 winner. You know, if if we're not busy losing games to ourselves, then we just win them all, right? So, not bad, not bad. So we can pull this up, talk about it a little bit more. And so, you know, I was pretty happy with the majority of the deck. There are some aspects of this to where I don't really like. It's like, how much do we really need to play in the coin package? We did have a game to where it was relevant having the 2 coins with the Feel the Rush, but like, how frequently are we really going to be using any of the coin package? And like, do we really want to devote a lot of resources to setting it off? And like, I don't know. I don't think I really like it. It's nice having a little bit of it, but you know, just having like 1 or 2 coins in hand just doesn't really do anything. And so like, I'm not to the point to where I really want to stack a bunch of these cards into our deck. And then it's like, well, do we really even want to play a card like Place Your Bets? I'd kind of, to a degree, rather have the card draw thing that gains health and draws 2 spells or something like that. Could technically be a little bit better than Place Your Bets. Or if we're just looking as a kind of a mana sink, then we could play something like Gift of the Hearthblood that heals 4, draws a card, and gives your units and your equipment +1/+1 in your deck. And so there's a few different options there. I'm leaning towards like taking out pieces of the package in the sense that like I don't really want tag out, but I was still pretty happy with stuff like Smooth Mixologist. And then it's safe to say you're never, you know, legitimately using the old timer unless the Trundle equipment is involved. And so I think that's one kind of like interesting take here, is I would like to just remove at least the tag out. And then after that, I was actually pretty happy with everything going on here. And so I liked all of the early game stuff. I know that we have this like weird package of cards to where we're playing Grandfather Phase and Frostcoat Cubs and Greenglade Lookouts, but that's just in large part a matter of having stuff just cheap enough to put on the board. And so I think that was good. The other thing you could kind of consider is just not playing Jax and switching into a different package there. Maybe something like Vayne would just be better, and you get a little bit better access to better units in Demacia. But again, like that kind of idea of I want all of my units to be spectacular off of a Feel the Rush, Jax fits right in there, and Vayne doesn't. And so I think that I'm, you know, kind of okay with this Jax package running around. And then, a bit unfortunate, we didn't get to play Warden of the Tribes today. We didn't even draw him, as best as I can remember. But it feels like over the course of all those games, he would have given at least, you know, +3/+3 to our dudes. And so I think he's a pretty good inclusion here. And so, good stuff. I had fun with that. I hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.